Well, there were too many good memories to remember, and then there are some memories are really funny, and some memories are some things I may not want to share, but were very good. Okay, yeah, so I joined MDC in 1978 when I was 18 years old. It was very interesting. I was meant to go into MDC immediately after BMT, but they lost my file back when there was not that much computerization. And so I went through, after MDC, I went to the School of Military Medicine, and I actually passed out as a medic. Passed out in the parade square, but also passed out with my Geneva Convention card, which states that I'm a medic. And I actually went to an infantry unit, I think 5 SIR if I'm not mistaken. Then after that, they found my file. Oh, MDC. And then I kept telling my officers I'm MDC, I'm supposed to go MDC, but they didn't believe me. But eventually the transfer document came and I went to MDC very happily so. And MDC was actually meant to be leaving for New Zealand at that time to perform in New Zealand. And I wasn't supposed to go because I'm the newbie, right? But because the music director at that time, Captain Tony Wei, who later became a major, he said, "Oh, we have to include you." So I ended up, very quickly getting whatever I needed to do to be included in the trip to New Zealand, which was a wonderful trip. I actually signed on. I was meant to sign on for 6 years, but my career started taking off really well. So after a year and a half, I asked to cut the contract short, which thankfully I was allowed to go and do my thing. So I stayed 3.5 years in MDC. Well, I mean, it provided me with much needed lessons in discipline and being in the right place at the right time and not to be late, and also to work with others, because at that time MDC had a full big band. So to be able to work with all those other musicians on all the other instruments was fantastic. The other thing that MDC really did for me, which I think I don't say enough, is that I was also asked to write big band arrangements. So I learned to do large ensemble writing at a very young age because of the work assigned to me by Captain Tony Wei to write arrangements. And it was wonderful because, if I made 3 bad mistakes on my arrangements, I cannot guard duty, So then, you get good really fast. Well, at least, I don't know about good, but you get correct very fast. You make very little mistakes. Yeah, it was a little more military because it was part of the army then, and so we wore uniforms, number 3, and then there was also a very nice dark green uniform that when we perform overseas that we would wear with the gold buttons and all that. So it was a different time, but I mean the evolution of MDC has been really interesting and very positive. So everything has to change, and I think it's changed for the better. I think one memory that I really liked and enjoyed was when MDC performed at the Wellington Town Hall in New Zealand, and just to have the local New Zealander residents from Auckland come and Singaporeans who live in Auckland. It was 1 week before the great Duke Count Basie. Our performance, MDC band's performance, was with a few singers. It wasn't the full show. It was a music concert with a few of the singers. Performed at the Auckland Town Hall 1 week before the Count Basie Orchestra, one of the greatest big bands, when Count Basie was still alive. So I wish that it was 1 week after, so people don't make comparisons. But we did our best. I mean, the band sounded really good, and I think musically that's one of my best memories. But there were a lot of wonderful memories. The beautiful thing about being in a company like the MDC is that you're able to practice a lot of time that's given to you to have self-discipline and practice. You can really use that time to become the artist that you wanted to be when you first started off to do this thing that you love. So I always say it's a perfect opportunity. It's like a heaven for you to be in and practice as hard as you can, get as good as you can, build all the communications and connections that you can, so that eventually when you do leave, that you would have also, like me, had MDC become almost like going to college or school for a short while and then embark on your career.